The Mitsubishi F-15J DJ Eagle is a twin-engine, all-weather air superiority fighter based on the McDonnell Douglas F-15 Eagle in use by the Japan Air Self-Defense Force. The F-15J was produced under license by Mitsubishi Heavy Industries. The subsequent F-15DJ and F-15J Kai variants were also produced. Japan is the largest customer of the F-15 Eagle outside the United States. In addition to combat, F-15DJ roles include training. The F-15J Kai is a modernized version of the F-15J. Development. In July 1975, the Japan Defense Agency examined the McDonnell Douglas F-15 Eagle as one of the 13 candidates for the replacement of the F-104J DJ Starfighter and F-4EJ Phantom II. A single-seat F-15C and a twin-seat F-15D were evaluated at Edwards Air Force Base, and in December 1975, the F-15 was announced the winner, with the government intending to purchase 187 F-15J DJs. By April 1978, Mitsubishi Heavy Industries was designated as the primary contractor and licensing for the F-15CD was achieved. After congressional review, the Department of Defense withheld the aircraft's electronic warfare and engine systems from the licensing. Initially, the aircraft were produced in the U.S. and exported to Japan. This initial export production contributed to aircraft development under the defense industry of Japan while facilitating base production of aircraft, achieving the goal of producing a fighter to Japan's requirements. The Japan Air Self-Defense Force acquired 203 F-15JS and 20 F-15DJs, of which 2 F-15JS and 12 F-15DJs were built by McDonnell Douglas in St. Louis, Missouri. Dubbed the Peace Eagle by the DoD FMS program, the first F-15J built in St. Louis was delivered to the United States Air Force for its first flight on June 4, 1980, and a subsequent cruise on July 15 to Japan. Additionally, 8 F-15JS were manufactured in large components and shipped to Japan for final assembly by Komaki of Mitsubishi, the first of these making its maiden flight on August 26, 1981. Companies divided the remainder share and produced it under license from 1981, with final assembly of aircraft performed by Mitsubishi. In 1980, the Japanese government applied for access to advanced technology through the U.S.-Japan Forum but this was rejected. The JDA and the DoD held annual meetings about relaxation of the regulation after a program was started. In these meetings, the DoD official gave an answer that permitted access to initially prohibited technology of various types including composite material. In the latter period of 1981, the first F-15J DJ aircraft was sent to 202 Squadron, which was reorganized as an Eagle FTU and renamed the 23 Flying Training Squadron at New Tabaru Base on December 21, 1982. The JASDF developed a plan to form the first squadron after the KAL-007 shot down by a Soviet Su-15 on September 1, 1983. In March 1984, new F-15JS began replacing the 203 Squadron's F-104JS at Chitose Air Base, located across the La Paz Copyright Rouse Strait from the Soviet fighter base on Sakhalin Island. Design. F-15J DJs are identical to F-15CDS aside from the ECM, radar warning system, and nuclear equipment. The ANALQ-135 internal countermeasures system is replaced by the indigenous JALQ-8 and the ANALR-56 radar warning receiver is replaced by the J-April 4. The engine is the Pratt & Whitney F100 turbofan, produced under license by IHI Corporation. Some aircraft still have an inertial measurement unit, an old type of the inertial navigation system. All F-15J DJs have two UHF radios, which are also VHF capable. The F-15J is characterized by an indigenous data link, but they do not support Link 16 FDL mounted by USAF F-15CS. It works as a basic bidirectional link with a Japanese ground-controlled intercept network, and it is limited because it is not a true network. Mitsubishi received the F-15CD Multistage Improvement Program and in 1987 began upgrading the F-15J DJs. Improvements included an uprated central computer, engines, armament control set and added the JAPQ-1 countermeasure set. The F-100PW220 was upgraded to the F-100PW220E with a digital engine electronic control retrofit. Differences in appearance from earlier F-15JS include the JALQ-8ICS with an ICS antenna mounted under the intake. The JAPQ-4RWR antenna position on the F-15J DJs is the same as F-15CDS, but the lens of F-15J DJ MSIPs are black rather than white for F-15CDS. Improvements and upgrades. F-15JS have been equipped with the Japanese-built AAM-3 missile, an improved AIM-9 Sidewinder follow-on with distinctive barbed forward fins. Japan has been investigating an advanced fighter to replace the F-15, meanwhile the F-15J fleet is being modernized. In July 28, 2003, the first upgraded F-15J made its first flight, and it was delivered to the JASDF Air Development Test Wing on October 21, 2003. On December 10, 2004, the Japanese government approved a midterm defense program to modernize the F-15J MSIPs over 5 years in accordance with new National Defense Program guidelines. The upgrade is being implemented in phases, but ultimately the upgrade will include a new ejection seat. Replaced IHI-220E engines. More powerful processor. Uprated electrical generation and cooling capabilities to support more avionics and the Raytheon AN/APG-63B-1 radar, which has been produced under license by Mitsubishi Electric since 1997. Raytheon expects the radar will ultimately be installed in 80 F-15JS. The new radar will support the AAM-4 missile, the Japanese answer to the AMRAAM. The Ministry of Defense requested the modernization and deployment of reconnaissance aircraft in June 2007, and it was planned to upgrade some F-15JS with synthetic aperture radar pods. These aircraft would replace the F-4 Phantom-ized currently in service. On December 17, 2009, the reconnaissance upgrade disappeared from the budget after the Democratic Party took power following the general election in 2009, and priority was given instead to improvement of the F-15J and the Mitsubishi F-2. The number of F-15J upgrades was increased from 26 to 48, and the MOD purchased the part of the modernization for 38 fighters. However, the full budget for modernization is incomplete. 48 F-15JS will get a Link 16 data link and helmet-mounted sight. The helmet-mounted sight will support the AAM-5 dogfighting missile, which will replace the AAM-3. On December 17, 2010, modernization was funded for 16 F-15JS, but the MOD reduced this to 10 F-15JS. Variants: F-15J, single-seat fighter version for the JASDF. 139 built under license in Japan by Mitsubishi 1981 €97. 2 built in St. Louis. F-15DJ, two-seat training version for the JASDF. 12 built in St. Louis, and 25 built under license in Japan by Mitsubishi during 1981 €97. F-15J Kai, F-15JS that have been modernized for the JASDF. There is no official name for this particular variant, but it has been referred to as the F-15 Kai by the Japanese media. Operators. Japan Air Self-Defense Force had 157 F-15JS and 45 F-15DJs in use as of November 2008. 2nd Air Wing Chitose Air Base, 201st Tactical Fighter Squadron, 203rd Tactical Fighter Squadron. 6th Air Wing Komatsu Air Base, 303rd Tactical Fighter Squadron, 306th Tactical Fighter Squadron. 7th Air Wing Yakurai Air Base, 305th Tactical Fighter Squadron. 8th Air Wing Tsuiki Air Base, 304th Tactical Fighter Squadron. 83rd Air Group Nha Air Base, 204th Tactical Fighter Squadron. Specifications, General Characteristics, Crew, 1 pilot, Length, 63 feet 9 inches, Wingspan, 42 feet 10 in, Height, 18 feet 6 in, Wing Area, 608 FTA squared, Empty weight, 28,000 pounds, Loaded weight, 44,500 pounds, max takeoff weight, 68,000 pounds, power plant, 2 Pratt & Whitney F100-100 or a 220 afterburning turbofans, dry thrust, 17,450 pound forces each, thrust with afterburner, 25,000 pound forces for a 220 each. Fuel capacity, 13,455 pounds internal, performance, maximum speed, high altitude, Mach 2.5 plus, low altitude, Mach 1.2. Service ceiling, 65,000 feet, rate of climb, 50,000 feet per minute, wing loading, 73.1 pounds FTA squared, thrust weight, 1.12, armament, guns, 1 20 mm M61 Vulcan, hardpoints, 10A and provisions to carry combinations of missiles Mitsubishi AAM-3, Mitsubishi AAM-4, Mitsubishi AAM-5, AIM-9 Sidewinder, AIM-7 Sparrow. Other, Mk-82 General Purpose Bomb, CBU-87 Cluster Bomb. See also. Related development, McDonnell Douglas F-15E Strike Eagle, aircraft of comparable role, configuration and era, Mike-1 MiG-29, Panavia Tornado ADV, Saab 37 Viggen, Shenyang J-82, Sukhoi Su-27, related lists, list of military aircraft of Japan, references, citations. Bibliography, Laurel, Mark A. Troubled Partnership, A History of U.S.-Japan Collaboration on the FSX Fighter. Transaction Publishers, 1996. ISBN A978-1-56891-0. Davis, Steve. Combat Legend, F-15 Eagle and Strike Eagle. London, Airlife Publishing, 2002. ISBN A1-84037-377-6. Davis, Steve and Doug Dildy. F-15 Eagle Engaged, the world's most successful jet fighter. Osprey Publishing, 2007. ISBN A1-84603-169-9. Jenkins, Dennis. A McDonnell Douglas F-15 Eagle, Supreme Heavyweight Fighter. Hinckley, UK, Midland Publishing, 1998. ISBN 1-85780-081-8. Reininger, Tyson. F-15 Eagle at War. Zenith Imprint, 2009. ISBN A978-0-7603-3350-1. External links, F-15J at globalsecurity.org, F-15J fighter on Mitsubishi Heavy Industries. Flight International. Japan seeks to replace Phantoms. Flight International. Sobi, Brendan. F-15J radar upgrade in production. Flight International. Flight International. Japanese outline aircraft purchase plans for 2002-7. Flight International. Flight International. Japan integrates XAAM-5 on F-15J. Flight International. A.